Look at there. A nice cloud of Dominican cigar smoke with which to begin our conversation. And cheers and thank you for joining us on this occasion. Welcome to Two Hands and a Face Audio. Our purpose is to share reviews of musical products, share gigging experiences, share things that we've scraped up and picked up over years and years and years of performance, recording, gigging, etc., etc. And we are happy to bring and share that information with you. On this occasion, you will note the conspicuous absence of instruments, stomp boxes, amplifiers, glockenspiels, tubas. None of these things are in my hands or on my lap because we're not talking about those on this occasion. This is another one of those two hands and a face videos where we're going to offer some information that comes from having experienced a lot of gigs and a lot of equipment and a lot of instrumentation. And what I wanted to speak tonight about specifically was the growing trend in the Chibson guitars. A lot of you guys know what Chibsons are. Chibson is a slang moniker for Chinese Gibson. Chai, Ibsen, Chibson. But it's really more of a catch-all term for the counterfeit instrument business in general, because it's picked up a lot of momentum and it's easy to find counterfeit instruments online. It's easy to purchase them. If you're a seller, it's easy to sell them. But you should know technically that selling a counterfeit item, knowingly or unknowingly, is illegal. Now, federal agents and customs guys are not going to come knocking on your door because you bought or sold a Chinese counterfeit Gibson or Fender. They're not going to do it. It's not that the law is unenforceable. I think they just have bigger fish to fry. But it is illegal. It's very illegal in terms of international law and specifically intellectual property laws for these companies in China that make these things. And the Chinese government does not have a set of intellectual property retention laws even for its own citizens. They do not protect intellectual property rights. Of course they don't. They're a communist nation. They are the world's leading communist nation in influence. So communism in and of itself negates individuality. They're not going to allow someone to brand a concept, a product, a work of art with their own name. It flies in the face of the tenets of communism. So they do not uphold or sustain or even author into existence intellectual property rights. Therefore, the Chinese government directly and or indirectly sanctions these illegal counterfeiting operations in China that create these instruments. And what you need to know is a handful of things. Number one, the cost of making these counterfeit instruments is estimated in terms of global currency between $10 and $20. So what you're actually getting, I'm sorry to be this blunt, I don't want to sound preachy, I don't want to condescend to anyone, I just want to share experience. What you're getting when you buy one of these counterfeits is a piece of garbage, pretending that it in any way approximates the material quality, the quality control, the tone, the electronics of the original item whose name it's stealing is a flight of fancy. They just are not that good quality. They can't be. They cost between $10 and $20 to make, man. And they're made in essentially sweatshops that are manned and occupied almost by what you would call rightfully slave labor. So you're getting junk. I know it seems like an innocuous thing. It's like, okay, this is a novelty. I'm buying a counterfeit Gibson guitar, a Fender, or what have you. Kind of like, a Rolex watch. I'm on Canal Street. I'm going to buy, a $75 counterfeit Rolex. Who's it hurting? You'd be surprised. These enterprises are coming together as a $1 to $4 trillion a year total industry. Now, we're not just talking about instruments. We're talking about counterfeiting coming out of China in the form of wristwatches, jewelry, handbags, shoes, jackets, hats, sunglasses, and of course an entire array of instruments, including not just guitars, but all kinds of instruments, all kinds of electronics related to instrumentation. There's a lot of product that's being counterfeited, and when you add it all together, global authorities, and of course it can't be tracked because it's an illegal business, but they estimate that its impact on the global economy is through sales of $1 to $4 trillion in merchandise every year. $1 to $4 trillion a year. So we can easily and conservatively and safely say it's $1 trillion a year industry. Well, what that industry is actually feeding is running money to far more evil, far more insidious criminal enterprises. The criminal enterprises that set these operations up and use them for running money are responsible for drug smuggling, fentanyl importation, fentanyl distribution, heroin importation, human trafficking, forced prostitution. These things are all at the top of a criminal syndicate that uses the seemingly innocuous sale of counterfeit items for running money. That's how they gas their tanks, man. So every time you buy a Chibson or a fake Fender or a fake Rolex or a fake Louis Vuitton handbag, or, insert name of item here, every time you buy one of those, you're handing $50, $75, $100, $500, maybe $1,000 to an enterprise that deals in human trafficking. I know none of us want our dollars to go to these people. We don't want our money going there. And some of the higher end counterfeits that are being made and sold are quite expensive. It's not unusual at all in counterfeit watches to find a high-end counterfeit, quote unquote, a better quality counterfeit that's more convincing as a counterfeit for $1,000 or more. I've seen fake Panerais and fake Rolexes that were using Swiss mechanics to fake the product a little more convincingly. They can be $1 to $2,000. I was in the watch business for 30 years before I started doing this. So that's an explanation of my relationship with counterfeits. If you're in the watch business, especially as a watchmaker, you're going to see a lot of counterfeits. You're going to deal with a lot of counterfeits. And in my case, I refused to work on them, service them, size them. I didn't want anything to do with them. But the entire mentality spills over to every product they make. So we can include guitars along with those other counterfeit goods. Pardon me. So the upshot is, every time we make one of these seemingly innocuous purchases, we're handing over a usable piece of money to a criminal syndicate that is not only guilty of trafficking and drug smuggling, they're guilty of murder, because that's a routine component of the way they do business. I know we don't want our dollars going there, and the truth is, these products are junk, even at their very, very best, the height of their quality control and the best product they can produce with the best materials they can accrue for the purpose of counterfeiting, they're still garbage compared to the original product. So let's not feed a $1 trillion a year industry. And I know there's going to be guys out there. I know there are people that have already bought these things. I promise you, I'm not judging you, man. I've got no condemnation to make. That's not my place, and that's not what I'm here for. And if you have one of these Chibson guitars and it's meeting your needs, okay, carry on, But for those of you who are considering purchasing one and not seeing the full weight of where those dollars go and what that actually means and what those implications are, I hope you'll bear in mind that every purchase supports a really, really ugly and evil and insidious criminal enterprise that operates globally. And the Chinese government's not going to do anything to put a stop to it. Added to which, factor in the unfairness. They're stealing somebody else's name. They're stealing somebody else's look, parameters. They're using schematics to concoct some of these products. And it's blatant violation of intellectual property rights. And imagine having your name on something that was meaningful to you, be it a song, a work of art, a book that you wrote, and somebody else just takes it and lays claim to it in their own name. That would make me feel angry, low, betrayed, violated. So think of it in those terms if you can. I don't mean to be preachy about it. I just vehemently oppose the counterfeit industry in every facet of its existence. And I hope that you will join me in that sentiment. Let's not give the Chibson makers any more dollars. Whether it's a fake Fender, a fake Gibson, a fake Charvel, whatever it purports to be, they are not worthy of our time as musicians. They're not worthy of the dollars that we work so hard to earn, whether we're out there gigging our asses off or working a day job and gigging. I know a lot of you folks gig. They are not worth the nobility of our trade. They truly are not, man. Let's starve them out. Let's put them out of business. And I appreciate your time on this occasion. I appreciate you listening to me kind of get on a pulpit about it. I didn't mean for it to come across that way. And I can't emphasize enough how grateful I am to have the audience that I have. I hope that you guys will keep gigging. I hope that you guys will keep going out there and doing it. Stand in your living room and sing to the ceiling if you have to, but keep gigging, keep playing. Please hit that subscribe button. If this meant anything at all to you, hit it with your booze, hit it with your smoke, hit it with your finger. Just hit it, man, and come and join us again. We'd love to have you. Be well and keep making music, my friends.